Did you know that Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that female sexuality is deeply shaped by universal patterns called archetypes? These archetypes are symbolic templates present in the collective unconscious, and they influence behavior, emotional responses, and the way women experience desire and intimacy. Many people think of sexuality in purely physical terms, but Jung's perspective opens a wider, more profound understanding. Female sexuality is not only about physical attraction or sexual activity. It is a reflection of complex psychological energies deeply intertwined with universal patterns that exist within every human being. By understanding these archetypes, women can gain insight into their emotional tendencies, sexual expression, and relational dynamics, allowing for greater self-awareness and a more fulfilling intimate life. Jung believed that these archetypes, which manifest in dreams, fantasies, and everyday behaviors, are essential to understanding the psyche. Recognizing how these archetypal energies influence sexuality can transform not only personal self-understanding, but also the way women connect with partners and navigate intimate relationships. Carl Jung spent much of his life exploring the deeper layers of the human mind. Unlike Freud, who focused primarily on the sexual instincts, Jung expanded the idea of libido to encompass a broader psychic energy that fuels not just sexual desire, but creativity, motivation, and emotional expression. He argued that female sexuality is a complex interplay of physical desire, emotional needs, and symbolic representation in the unconscious. In his work, Jung emphasized that every woman carries multiple archetypal energies that guide her thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. These archetypes, such as the nurturing mother, the playful maiden, the wise elder woman, and the mystical sorceress, influence how women express themselves sexually and emotionally. They are not rigid roles, but dynamic patterns that shape behavior and emotional responses in subtle and profound ways. Understanding these archetypes allows women to see patterns in their desires, habits, and relationships that might otherwise remain unconscious, helping them make conscious choices in love and intimacy. One of the central archetypes in female sexuality is the mother. The mother archetype represents nurturing, care, the protection, and emotional availability. Women who are strongly influenced by this archetype may approach intimacy with a sense of caregiving, seeking to support and emotionally nourish their partners. This archetype often manifests as a desire to create connection through empathy and attentiveness. It can enhance sexual experiences by promoting deep emotional bonding and sensitivity to a partner's needs. However, when overexpressed or unbalanced, the mother archetype may lead to a tendency to prioritize the partner's pleasure over one's own, potentially suppressing personal desires or needs. Understanding the mother archetype allows women to recognize when nurturing is healthy and when it might limit authentic sexual expression. By bringing awareness to this pattern, women can integrate the nurturing energy with other archetypal influences to create a more balanced, satisfying experience of intimacy. The maiden archetype is another fundamental influence on female sexuality. The maiden embodies curiosity, playfulness, innocence, exploration, and the desire for new experiences. In sexual expression, this archetype can bring a sense of adventure, spontaneity, and joy. Women influenced by the maiden may seek novelty and intimacy, express themselves with openness and lightheartedness, and approach sexual exploration with creativity. While this energy can enhance pleasure and connection, it may also bring challenges if overemphasized. For example, a strong maiden influence might lead to difficulties with long-term emotional commitment or a tendency to prioritize novelty over deeper emotional intimacy. Recognizing the maiden archetype helps women balance their desire for excitement with the need for emotional connection, allowing them to navigate sexual and romantic experiences with both joy and mindfulness. Jung emphasized that understanding these patterns is not about limiting oneself, but about bringing unconscious energies into awareness so they can be consciously integrated. The wise woman archetype represents knowledge, reflection, intuition, and emotional insight. In the context of female sexuality, the wise woman encourages self-awareness, thoughtful decision-making, and a deep understanding of one's own desires and emotional needs. This archetype can guide women in cultivating meaningful relationships, setting boundaries, and engaging in sexual experiences that are emotionally fulfilling. By connecting with the wise woman energy, women can gain clarity about what truly resonates with them in intimacy, allowing them to avoid patterns of behavior that are driven solely by unconscious impulses or external pressures. The wise woman archetype also supports the integration of other archetypes, helping women harmonize nurturing, playful, and sensual energies in a balanced and self-aware manner. Through reflection, journaling, and mindful observation, women can strengthen this archetypal connection, enhancing both sexual satisfaction and emotional well-being. The sorceress archetype embodies mystery, sensuality, transformation, and power. It represents the capacity to engage with sexual energy in a conscious, creative, and transformative way. Women who connect with this archetype may experience heightened sexual confidence, embrace desire with authenticity, and explore the symbolic and emotional aspects of intimacy. The sorceress archetype encourages women to view sexuality not only as physical pleasure, but also as a form of personal empowerment and psychic exploration. This energy can be liberating, helping women break free from societal constraints or internalized beliefs that limit sexual expression. When balanced, the sorceress archetype allows for sexual experiences that are deeply fulfilling and transformative, contributing to self-understanding and personal growth. Jung's insight highlights that sexuality is a gateway to integrating unconscious energies, and the sorceress archetype exemplifies how embracing desire can lead to profound psychological insight. Jung's concept of libido as psychic energy is essential to understanding these archetypes in female sexuality. Unlike the classical Freudian perspective, which often limited libido to sexual desire, Jung expanded the notion to encompass all forms of psychic energy, including creativity, emotional expression, and motivation. In women, this energy manifests in multiple ways through physical desire, emotional bonding, imaginative exploration, and symbolic expression. Recognizing that libido is not merely physical allows women to see sexuality as a broader, multidimensional experience that is intertwined with emotional and spiritual development. This perspective empowers women to embrace their desires fully while understanding the underlying psychological patterns that shape those desires. Female sexuality, as seen through the lens of archetypes, also has a profound impact on emotional patterns and relationships. Archetypes influence attachment styles, responses to intimacy, and relational dynamics. For example, the mother archetype may encourage caregiving behaviors and deep empathy in relationships, fostering trust and emotional safety. The maiden archetype can introduce playfulness and novelty, creating excitement and spontaneity in sexual encounters. The wise woman archetype provides insight and self-reflection, promoting communication and conscious decision-making. The sorceress archetype encourages empowerment, authenticity, and conscious engagement with sexual energy. By understanding which archetypal energies are most active, women can gain insight into recurring emotional patterns, relational challenges, and sources of fulfillment, ultimately allowing for healthier, more conscious sexual and emotional experiences. Integration of these archetypes is a key step in Jungian psychology, referred to as individuation. Individuation is the process of bringing unconscious energies into consciousness, understanding and integrating them into a balanced and authentic sense of self. In the context of female sexuality, individuation involves recognizing which archetypes are influencing behavior and desire, observing unconscious patterns in relationships, and making conscious choices about how to express sexuality and intimacy. This process helps women develop emotional resilience, self-awareness, and the ability to engage in relationships with clarity and authenticity. It is a lifelong journey, but one that can profoundly enhance sexual satisfaction, emotional connection, and personal growth. Practical exploration of these archetypes can begin with simple exercises such as journaling, reflection, and observation of dreams and fantasies. Women can reflect on patterns in their emotional responses and desires, noticing which archetypes seem to be active at different times. For example, do they feel most nurturing and caregiving, embodying the mother archetype? Are they playful and curious, expressing the maiden? Do they experience moments of deep insight and reflection, connecting with the wise woman? Or do they feel empowered, sensual, and transformative, resonating with the sorceress? By observing these patterns without judgment, women can bring unconscious energies into conscious awareness, enabling more intentional choices in sexual and emotional expression. Mindfulness and meditation can also support the integration of archetypal energies. By cultivating presence and self-awareness, women can observe how each archetype influences their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. This awareness allows for conscious engagement with sexual desire, emotional expression, and relational dynamics. Additionally, open communication with partners about these patterns can foster mutual understanding and enhance intimacy. Sharing insights about personal archetypal tendencies can create opportunities for deeper connection, empathy, and sexual satisfaction. Jung's framework encourages viewing sexuality not merely as physical activity, but as a reflection of inner psychological realities that can be consciously explored and integrated. The journey of understanding female sexuality through archetypes also involves embracing both strengths and challenges associated with each archetype. The mother archetype's nurturing can create deep bonds, but over-nurturing may suppress personal needs. The maiden archetype brings curiosity, but overemphasis may lead to restlessness. The wise woman archetype provides clarity, but excessive detachment can create emotional distance. The sorceress archetype empowers, but imbalance may foster manipulation or self-centeredness. By recognizing these dynamics, the women can integrate each archetypal energy in a balanced manner, enhancing both sexual fulfillment and emotional well-being. The Jung's perspective emphasizes that the conscious integration of archetypal energies is not only psychologically enriching, but also sexually liberating. It is also important to recognize that archetypes are dynamic, not fixed. They shift depending on context, life stage, experiences, and emotional states. For example, a woman may embody the maiden archetype more strongly in youth, expressing playfulness and curiosity, and gradually shift toward the mother or wise woman archetypes as she gains experience and insight. Sexuality evolves alongside these archetypal expressions, reflecting the ongoing development of the psyche. Jung believed that awareness of these shifts allows women to navigate relationships with understanding and intentionality, fostering intimacy that aligns with both psychological and sexual needs. Throughout this exploration, it becomes clear that female sexuality is multi-layered, symbolic, and profoundly connected to inner psychological patterns. Jung's archetypes offer a lens to understand not only desire and sexual expression, but also emotional responses, relational tendencies, and self-perception. By observing, reflecting, and integrating these patterns, women can develop a more conscious, fulfilling, and authentic approach to intimacy. Recognizing that sexuality is tied to universal archetypal energies enables women to move beyond societal expectations, limiting beliefs, or unconscious patterns that may interfere with satisfaction and connection. Ultimately, Jung's insights remind us that female sexuality is a gateway to self-understanding, emotional growth, and authentic relationships. The integration of archetypal energies, mother, maiden, wise woman, and sorceress, allows women to embrace desire, emotional depth, creativity, and empowerment. Understanding these patterns encourages conscious engagement with sexuality, enabling women to navigate intimacy with awareness, confidence, and authenticity. This approach fosters not only sexual satisfaction, but also emotional resilience, personal growth, and relational harmony. Female sexuality, seen through Jungian psychology, becomes a journey of exploration, reflection, and integration, a journey toward wholeness. As a practical guide, the women can begin this journey by observing themselves in daily life, reflecting on emotional and sexual patterns, journaling experiences, and exploring dreams or fantasies for archetypal symbols. Mindfulness and meditation practices can help cultivate presence, allowing women to notice which archetypes are active and how they influence behavior and desire. Open dialogue with partners about personal archetypal patterns promotes empathy, deeper connection, and shared understanding in intimacy. Over time, integrating these energies consciously enables women to experience sexuality as a harmonious blend of desire, emotion, creativity, and authenticity. Jung's framework provides a map for navigating the intricate interplay of psyche and sexuality, revealing a path towards self-awareness, emotional fulfillment, and empowered intimacy. In conclusion, female sexuality is much more than a physical act. It is a reflection of inner psychic energies and archetypal patterns that shape desire, emotion, and relational dynamics. Carl Jung's perspective offers a profound understanding of how these archetypes, the nurturing mother, wise, elder woman, and transformative sorceress, influence every aspect of sexual expression. By becoming aware of these energies and integrating them consciously, women can navigate intimacy with self-understanding, emotional balance, and empowerment. This journey of exploration and integration transforms sexuality into a tool for personal growth, emotional awareness, and authentic connection. Jung's insights encourage women to embrace the fullness of their sexual and emotional selves, using archetypes as guides to understand, express, and celebrate their inner lives, ultimately leading to healthier relationships, deeper intimacy, and a richer experience of desire and connection.